Hello everyone, it's Davide here and welcome back to Learning Finance. In today's video guys, it's Monday, so we are gonna do the overall stock market overview. It's something that I have been doing for a couple of weeks. It looks like that you appreciate it. It's something that I always do for myself, so just sharing in the channel is completely fine for me. Yesterday I have shared my outlook in the cryptocurrency market. So for crypto, it's something that I have never posted in the channel anyway. I think that the situation there is starting to be a little bit more tricky, so if you want to just go on and check it out, I'll leave you the link down in the description below. Anyway, in today's video we are gonna take a look at the market. So stock market, we see that the Nasdaq opened with a bit of weakness today as well. We are minus 1.07% at the moment. Is down the S&P as well, the Dow Jones as well, even though a little bit less. So I told you that 2021 was gonna be more complicated than 2020, but by the way, the concept is still the same. Actually, is better because in the long term, if we have a bit of red market, we can get bargains. It's not all negative, but anyway, let's take a look at the market and let's also take a look at some different stocks that we usually follow in the channel. In today I want to talk a bit about Coinbase as well because it's being busted. The only thing I ask you guys as always is please leave me an early like, it's very important and I thank you for it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new updates. Let's begin. Alright guys, so here is the Nasdaq. What we have seen is that since February we have stopped this huge bull run that we have had since the pandemic. Now we are starting to move a bit sideways. What is the problem about this particular behavior? Is that it can be frustrating sometimes because when you have growth stocks that are moving lower and you buy it, if you are used in this moment, basically you were pretty sure that every dip was the right one to buy, okay? While when it comes to sideways moves and weakness driven by inflation, all this kind of stuff, it can be that you buy and then tomorrow is lower. So here is the thing, but overall, I think that the long term, you don't have to miss the goal, okay? The final goal, which is buying something that you like at decent prices, okay? So it's all about that. Now, in terms of the market itself, we see how this behavior actually is not something clear because we made new highs, but now we are in another pullback phase, and I put this green bar over there as a possible bounce back level, simply because here we have, if you take the Fibonacci retracement, actually we have a couple of stuffs all together, so the 50 moving average, and then a very important level, I already told you in previous videos, the 0.618 of Fibonacci, we see that it's right over there and the market looks like it bounced back as of now from it. Anyway, is the trouble finished? 100%? Well, in terms of what the market is showing us, no. Okay, no, we still have a risk, a short-term risk. What is the risk? Well, simple enough. Look at how the Nasdaq pulls back usually when it does that, okay? It never goes down altogether and then bounce back up. If you take a look at it closely, it likes to do this kind of A, B, C, D patterns. And look at that. Now, you take the top and you see the first leg down, it's actually there. Here is the drop in February. Now, if you take this and you copy and paste it, it's exactly the same length. You see the pullback, then it bounced, but then it does the next leg. And the next leg, if you just see, it's very similar to the previous one. Indeed, if you zoom, you see how the segment over there, it's very near to where the market bottomed in the 5th of March. So what that means is that basically this kind of weakness in the market, if we buy today, we are not sure that is actually the right bottom, okay? It can get cheaper. It's all about that. So are we out of the risk? No, simply because the market could do something similar as it has done in February, so the first A-B leg, then we are seeing the bounce back on the 50 moving average, but the risk is that the market can do something like that. Okay, so actually go down and form a sort of a double bottom, touch the 200 moving average, okay, something that it hasn't done since basically the pandemic, okay, over there. So this is still possible, and because of that, actually don't feel frustrated if you buy today and the stocks are continuing to get cheaper coming on. Anyway, do not miss, in my opinion, the long-term goal, okay? So if you liked something at higher prices, actually you should like it even more when it gets cheaper. Now the next views is actually pretty simple. We have touched the bottom over there because of inflation. I think that the last week we had one of the worst data in terms of inflation. I think that most of it was because of the year-over-year measurement, and moving forward probably and hopefully it will get lower, otherwise we are in trouble. But the next view is that, yeah, now the market can just continue to actually recover a bit, okay, and not do this last leg down. But anyway, there is still the possibility, so we will keep an eye on that. Now let's start to take a look at actually single stocks that we usually follow. And first of all is Tesla. Now, from the previous update, actually we were above 658 level over there. And I told you, look, if it breaks below this support at 658, it's very likely that we are gonna go straight down to 600 and basically inside this green box over there. Where we have also the 200 moving average, and we see that the market is now basically staying near the 200 moving average area, okay, something pretty common. And now, honestly, we are continuing to see weakness. I was probably expecting a little bit more of a bounce, but, well, the reality is that Tesla, as well as all these growth stocks that are gonna have earnings, especially net income, in years time. This inflation stuff is obviously something that the market doesn't like right now, and because of that we are continuing to see weakness. But as of now, it's nothing to be worried about. Actually, this green box is something that I have been saying for basically a couple of weeks now. We are just in between that, so it's still okay. I think that the next important level is here, the bottom, right? So 540. The main problem right now is simple as that. Tesla, as I explained you in the financial valuation, actually, it was priced with the bull case scenario. Now with this inflation stuff, actually the market starts to say, look, probably I want something that is less in the future, okay, is more now. But the good part is that, in my opinion, near 500, it becomes a long-term interesting buy. The more it goes lower, the more it gets interesting. Palantir. Now Palantir, if you remember previous videos, I told you that I bought at around 1760 because according to my fundamental analysis, which obviously can be completely wrong, but just my opinion, these prices over there in this green box are starting to become interesting. I have been waiting for those prices for a while, a couple of months, and finally I got those prices, so I had to buy. And the market offered another opportunity basically a couple of days after the earnings. Anyway, in my opinion, around the 16.5, 17.5, it's a decent price for Palantir, okay? It's where it is fairly priced, actually not overpriced, in my opinion, differently from, for example, $30, $35 per share that we saw back in February. So yes, it can get lower. Clearly, the market can do whatever it wants, especially in the short term with fears of inflation. I told you I was expecting a bit of sideways, okay, because technically speaking, we have this huge support, which now has become a resistance, okay, the 20.50 level, but anyway, it's an area, okay, this green area over there. So I told you it was not gonna be easy to pass it in the first place. I was expecting a bit of sideways for a while, as long as we don't have actually news, fundamental news from the business that are gonna change the history in the short time frame. Like for example, an unusual volume of contracts, something like that, okay? Something that changes the guideline, something that changes basically the future in terms of real numbers. If we don't see that, maybe we can continue to see Palantir just moving sideways for a while. We have this downtrend line, which it will not be easy to break above it in the short term. But anyway, what's important is that, in my opinion, even if it gets lower, then finally we will get bargains, okay? Because we are not in the situation anymore, in my opinion, especially if you bought around the 17 levels, where you bought an overpriced stock, okay? In my opinion, here you bought a decently priced stock, so even if you get cheaper, it will be fine to average down. But anyway, still fine. We see today is getting rejected by the resistance over there. We will see. Actually, I'm curious to see how long it will take for Palantir to break once again above the green level over there. Then the next stock in the list is Square, which obviously, if you follow the channel, you know that I own the stock. And then I showed you how, in my opinion, the fair price is around $230 per share. But the problem is that lots of this valuation is actually because of Bitcoin revenue, the Bitcoin business. I told you, look, personally, I do not feel comfortable to add above 200, okay, because the thing is simple, guys. As long as Square, so even though I like Square long term, I think that they have the potential to continue to grow their ecosystem, so Cash App and seller ecosystem, and to become something significant in the next 10 years. The problem is that as of now, more than 50% of their revenue, it comes from Bitcoin. That business is not great in terms of efficiency and margins. It's great because it brings more people to Cash App, but you have a crypto which are going down, and clearly Square is suffering as well. In previous week, I told you how it was gonna likely go down here. This is a huge support for Square. In my opinion, it becomes something more interesting if it gets even below 190, okay? I told you about 185. Those kind of prices can become interesting for me, at least, to add more. I'm perfectly fine as of now with the position that I have. I will continue to hold, obviously. The thing is that moving forward, if we want to avoid actually the crypto risk, we want to see Square making more revenue with their core business, so a seller and Cash App ecosystem, but with different financial services. Because as long as Bitcoin revenue will be significant in the total revenue of Square, this is the problem. Okay, so we can see weakness not only related to the market, but also related to the cryptocurrency market. Okay, so this is something to keep in mind. Then let's take a look at Alibaba stock, which I made a video last week after earnings. They have destroyed earnings in terms of revenue anyway. Because of the fine, they showed a loss from basically the first time since where they have been publicly traded. The market didn't take that properly, but anyway, in my opinion, as you know, Alibaba is extremely cheap in terms of the business. Overall, all the Chinese stocks are in trouble because of different uncertainties, okay? So not business related uncertainties. In terms of the graph where Alibaba is today, actually, it looks like that as of now, the market has been able to hold the long-term trend. It will be interesting moving forward to see whether Alibaba will be able to maintain this positive trend line. As of now, it looked like a fake out, the one on earnings on the 13th of May. And let's take a look, obviously keep an eye on that. And now to finish, let's talk about Coinbase. Now, Coinbase is a stock that I want to talk about it today because it's making another huge dip, minus 6% at the moment. It touched $238 per share since the IPO price is actually down almost 37%. So If you remember back then, I made a video. Actually, I don't have much views on that one, but I hope I saved someone money because the thing is that, look, I told you, in my opinion, Coinbase, they are doing the IPO in their best possible scenario. If you remember, back here, basically Bitcoin was almost at all-time high, the crypto market was coming from the huge bull trend, and obviously it's interesting to see how they have released earnings. They met their expectations. However, if you remember, before the company went public, I told you that in my opinion money had already been made at that point because it was the best possible scenario for them to go public, but for us that we are like the counterpart, it was the worst possible scenario to jump into Coinbase because in my opinion money had been made by private investors and retail were gonna just let private investors exit the investment. What's very interesting to see is that look at what they have written in the shareholders letter. Closing thoughts. The wind is in our sails right now and it feels good. Now this phrase over there is the perfect summary of what I was meaning back then. It was the perfect moment for them, but not for us. Look at what they say, but crypto is a young volatile industry and there will come a day when times are harder. We know this because we have experienced major crypto winters where financing was difficult to get. Partners cut us off and we lost large parts of our employee base. And then they go on with lots of risks. Long-term profitability, this is another interesting part. Now, they made lots of money during the bull market, but look at what they say. Given that this is our first quarterly update, we want to reiterate a few key concepts about how we think about our business performance. We are in the early stages in the development of crypto economy and our focus is on investing for long-term growth. As of Q1, results clearly demonstrated our business is volatile. We have historically generated high revenue and have been profitable during periods of strong crypto asset prices, and we have lost money when prices are low. Now, the end result, and here is very important, is that we seek to operate the company at roughly break even in terms of profitability, smoothed over time for the time being. Now, this is what is making crash the stock, in my opinion, because if you remember from the fundamental valuation, actually we have said as an assumption that Coinbase was on average being profitable, okay? Ups and down, but on average profitable. But here they are saying that they are planning to operate at roughly break even. Now, this is actually makes you understand how good they choose the timing to do the IPO. Now it has dropped 40%, but personally, in my opinion, I do not feel yet confident in the company. I continue to read, but I think that they are an exchange. They are not even the biggest one because Binance is bigger and they are not decentralized, while in my opinion the big news will be a decentralized exchange. And I think that first of all I see fees going down in the next 5 years, so they make a lot of money with fees and that part of the business will slow down in my opinion with competition. For me their biggest part is in the custody business as well as in this crypto cloud that they are trying to build for the crypto economy. But I have to continue to try to understand what they are doing clearly because as of now, well, I do not feel comfortable in saying that, okay, let's buy the stock because now it's getting beaten. I don't know how much far lower it can be, especially after what they are saying over there, because let's say that crypto are going down and they report a loss. What will happen? Okay, so as of now, I remain out of Coinbase. I will continue to take a look. I will update on that. But yeah, that's basically my opinion on it. So I hope you find the video interesting, guys. Leave me down a comment with what do you think. Subscribe to the channel if you want. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.